The Battle Royale genre is so crowded with high-quality releases and immensely popular titles that it's virtually impossible for anyone to compete anymore, unless you come up with a completely unique concept. And that's definitely the case for Headbangers Rhythm Royale, a unique blend of rhythm, party, and Battle Royale games. And it's launching into Game Pass no less. Let's open up this pit, shall we? Despite my previous puns and the game's title, Headbangers Rhythm Royale doesn't have much to do with rock or metal music, with the title most certainly being a play in the fact that playable characters are funky, cartoony pigeons, not too far from the style of games like Fall Guys. And indeed, that viral phenomenon of a multiplayer title seems to be the main inspiration behind this one, as the core formula very much reminisces it. 30 players enter the first of 4 minigames, with each phase eliminating a handful of them, leading into the final event where an ultimate winner is declared. But unlike most battle royales, players play in parallel games, kind of like the 99 series of games by Nintendo. In a series of rhythm-based minigames, players need to be as fast and as precise as possible in hitting the correct notes, individuating the correct sound, and so on. This happens in quite an impressive variety of game modes, all of which dictated by the sense of rhythm, coordination, memory, or even speed. Weird dance versions of Simon Says, where we have to replicate the freestyle rap or the yoga moves of a key character. Duels, where the player who first presses the right button after a specific sound is played. Actual rhythm game segments, where players need to follow the music and it has many correct colored buttons for the right notes as possible. And a lot more. There's already 23 different minigames to choose from, with most of them having enough of a skill ceiling and objectives to fight for to warrant decent replayability. Further challenges thrown into the mix during rounds as players can activate random power-ups that end up annoying other players, such as the screen being partly covered up by distractions like a dancing and singing pigeon, or when sneezing into the camera and leaving snot on it, though thankfully cartoony and not gross. That's pretty much it though. There's no campaign or any extra activity to speak of, so it's all about hopping online in private or public matches and beating other opponents in these funky game modes. That could be a scary prospect for a paid multiplayer title in 2023, but fortunately there's multiple aspects that should guarantee a solid shelf life for the game. The first of which is that the game launches day 1 on Game Pass, which should guarantee a healthy influx of players. It has crossplay, so even PlayStation and PC players aren't left off from the party unless you activate said option. And in case the game does end up with a sadly small player base, lobbies are filled up with bots if 30 players aren't found within a minute or two. Now considering I was playing in the pre-release window with a limited amount of people online, most opponents I encountered were AI, but they were generally competent in many game modes, making it almost as fun as the real deal. Headbangers Rhythm Royale presents a funny, if by now fairly predictable visual style. Borrowing the very round shapes of the characters from Fall Guys, this battle royale brings cartoony pigeons to the mix instead. While the characters aren't moved in the strictest of senses around the arenas, as the minigames either have them standing still or moved by a button presses to the rhythm, their heads can be freely bobbed around with the right stick of the controller in various moments. Sometimes for pure comedic relief, other times to straight up activate bonus rounds or other shenanigans to make the minigames a tad more chaotic. These moves are also accompanied by the pigeons making noises that walk the fine line between cute and obnoxious, not unlike the sounds you'd hear from the Rabbids or the Minions. Inevitably, we have to talk about the game's progression and potential monetization. As of now at least, the game features a traditional rotating shop, with daily and weekly items giving each customization item a sense of urgency. These range from extra color palettes for our pigeon, various levels of clothing, full costumes, glasses, and more, offering quite a solid group of options for changing one's look already. Right now, credits can be unlocked via simply playing, meaning that the most common and rare items alike can be just grinded towards. Some of these cosmetics do cost a fair bunch, and with the rotating items in store, it can be a bit of a pain to lose out on something that's highly desired. But hey, it's all cosmetic stuff anyhow. Given the game's launch price of about $20 or $30 for the digital deluxe edition, this is a strange choice considering its main competition is free-to-play games, but at least there's no pressure to spend further currently. Oh, and I mentioned the individual challenges for certain minigames earlier. Completing those also unlocks various cosmetic items, including hilarious full costumes, so that's worth chasing too for fans of the bling bling. All in all, Headbangers Rhythm Royale feels like the perfect online game for Game Pass, with hopefully a healthy population guaranteed by the many subscribers on the service, the presence of crossplay, and even AI players to fill in the gaps. The simple yet addictive gameplay loop feels like something worth revisiting from time to time, so hopefully the game's so far limited variety will improve. It's got funny characters and hilarious competitive party game shenanigans, but it's also a tad limited currently in terms of variety and depth for its asking price if bought separately.